Good evening. The February 23rd meeting of the Longview City Council is now called to order. Tonight, Councilman Ray Wade is out of town, but state law allows members to participate in the meeting virtually, and we're glad he's able to participate with us tonight. Tonight, our prayer and pledge will be led by Willie Marshall, Utilities Service Manager. Willie is retiring this month after 34 and a half years of service to the City of Longview. During that time, he has given helpful service to thousands of water customers, brought leadership to the department, volunteered with many special efforts, done it all with a positive and professional attitude. Willie has also served as the pastor of the Harrison Street Church of Christ for more than 25 years, and he has led prayer and pledges at city council meetings countless times. That's mainly because whenever a person who was originally scheduled to lead the prayer and pledge had to cancel on the last minute, we would call Willie, and he was always willing to step up. Well, tonight we turned the tables. We actually canceled the person who was originally scheduled to be here tonight so that Willie could be here to lead us one more time before he retires. Willie Marshall, thank you, sir. Please stand.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you bow your heads with me, please? Our gracious and kind Father in heaven, we thank you first of all for just the privilege of being able to bow our heads and call you our Father. And we know, dear God, that your word says that you will hear us and you will answer according to your will. Dear God, we thank you for your bountiful blessings. We thank you for this great nation. We thank you, dear God, for those who bravely defend the freedoms that we enjoy. And dear God, we thank you for this community of Longview, and the leaders and servants that we have here. Dear God, we just pray your blessings upon this assembly. Give them the heart of compassion for the best interests of the people. You would guide them with your wisdom, with your spiritual understanding. And help us, oh God, to use the talents you've given us to better serve each other. And as we do such, dear God, we will reflect your glory in all that we do. We thank you, and we ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And we thank God for Willie Marshall. Thank you, my friend. We now at your presentations. We have the Parks Master Plan update. Mr. Karen.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, or Mr. McPhee. I wanted to give a little bit of an update of where we are on the Parks Master Plan update. So you had seen this slide previously when we had asked for the approval of the contract with Stantec for the Parks Master Plan update. And we're in a critical period right now, which is the public engagement portion. So last week, we put out signs at every one of our parks, multiple signs at a number of locations. We actually put out 70 different signs. And these signs have a QR code on them that links directly to the city's website. So when you click on that QR code, it pulls up the city's website. If you go to this bottom section here that says, give us your thoughts, it brings you to the project website. And from here, it tells you a little bit more about everything involved, but specifically the public participation aspect of it. So there are two opportunities currently that our residents have the opportunity to participate in. The first is they can go to a map and they can put a comment or a suggestion on something within the city of Longview. Or if it's something they're like, hey, I think we need to have a park here. It helps us map and identify the locations specifically that people are interested in doing stuff within our parks. And so here's an example of somebody, and again, this is from from today. Somebody put an idea or suggestion, they put a comment there, and then others can like it, dislike it, they can share it as well. So again, we're able to see what folks are interested from a mapping perspective. The next one, which is just as important, is it allows the opportunity for folks to put a post on the wall. And again, people can comment on them, they can like it, dislike it. Again, it's a great way for us to be able to gather feedback for our community, meeting them in a place that they are, either on their cell phone or on their computer. And so Just to date, over the past week, we are getting just off because we're able to track who is utilizing the QR code. Just in the past week, we put them out Thursday. You can see on just before that, not much, but we're getting 15 to 20 unique visitors to that site every single day. So that's pretty good. In addition, we're getting twice that amount of people that are just visiting the website through other means that we're promoting that through our website, through City View, through social media, and those kind of things. So again, a lot of great response that we're getting from our community as to the ideas and things that they would like to see within our parks. So the next step is we're going to do individual meetings and stakeholder meetings. For those that are interested in those types of things, we're going to start reaching out to those that have vested interest in that. We anticipate going to the park board, having a little presentation there at the end of March. And then for those that are kind of the old-fashioned and like to attend a public meeting and provide that input, there is an opportunity for folks to do that too. And again, right now we're tentatively scheduling that for the same time that Stantec will come out for the park board meeting. From there will be a survey that'll be opened in April, closed the 1st of May approximately. Again, that's the tentative schedule right now. And again, the reason we're waiting a little while to do that is because we want to gather this information originally and see what items or issues are kind of fleshing themselves out. Then we can ask follow-up questions of our community overall, specifically about what we hear from all the feedback that we've had previously. From there, they go a little bit silent as they're collecting all this data and this information. Then in June, July, they'll do another follow-up presentation to say, okay, here's what we heard, here's kind of what we're thinking, are we on the right track? Once they get all that feedback, then we'll have a draft plan sometime in that August, September timeframe, October Park Board, November for you guys as City Council to be able to see that final document. Of course, we'll share any of the draft plans along the way. So. It's just kind of a quick view. The public participation is the critical component. We wanted to make sure that people have the opportunity to do that, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to be before you tonight, is to show those opportunities that people can be involved in that. So be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Any question, Mr. Karen?
Thank you for the presentation. What are we doing on our parking situation?
Sure. No, and I meant to.
I'm not seeing that November's a good alternative.
No, sir. Sorry. I should have mentioned that. I told Marion that I would mention that to close my statements, but and I didn't. So I apologize. I talked to Stantec today. They have a draft report that they're going to be sending our way, probably, if not tomorrow, the early part of next week. But they've identified two different options for us to review. They've collected all the data. They've looked at the safety numbers and all those kind of things and have a ratio. And at this point, their recommendation is to add 24 additional spots to the existing that is out there. Again, that's kind of based on the participation rates as well as standards that they've seen at other venues. So
Thank you.
That's what I have for you, but we'll have a little bit more information once we get that draft report, re-review it, and then get comments back to them and then finalize that.
Thank you, Mr. Karen. Ms. Ishar, and council, please remember, we're videoing. You got to raise hands so everybody knows who's doing what, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott, I love the signs. I love the setup of that. That looks amazing. What will you list specifically what we're doing to engage the public on the survey? I just wonder if some of the special groups, like I assume some engaged groups, pickleball or, disc golf, are we doing anything formal to invite them to get members to share?
So the stakeholder groups that we've identified 3 groups, and the ones that we've identified are sports tourism or athletic groups. So youth baseball, softball, soccer, as well as a couple of our tournament directors. That's one stakeholder group itself. The second one is our recreation center users. So some seniors, some that use Broughton, some that use Paul Martin Jones. That's a second group. And then the third group is kind of what we've said is our interested in parks groups. So like skateboard, mountain bike, pickleball, disc golf, those that have a user group that's, the running club, those that are, and have a representative from each of those, because and kind of group them that way. And so there'll be a stakeholder group for each one of those, so that way they can ask some more targeted questions specifically about those groups and their needs and their desires moving forward. Yes, ma'am. So.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Ms. Kimbo?
You will be missed, Mr. Karen. I know this is your last week, and thank you for the recent improvements to Spring Hill Park. And more along the Spring Hill Park, I wanted to know the timeline on some of those major improvements, the top 3 that were identified. Do you have a timeline in regards to those?
So that's the bond projects that's phase 2 of the park bond projects, and we're still in the design phase of those right now. The challenge with those is the funding side of it, in that we have grant opportunities associated with a couple of those, and you can't turn dirt until you have contracts. If we're awarded grants, you can't turn dirt until those contracts are signed for those grants. And so it's just a timing issue. So we would anticipate probably going out for bids later this year and hopefully construction next year.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Karen. We are to citizen comment. I have no speaker cards. We'll go to public safety updates. Chief Boone.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. McPhee. First, want to cover some January stats for you on our priority 1 calls. Again, this is like our accident with injuries, in progress type calls. Our response time was an average of 3 minutes and 34 seconds. And again, what we're always looking for is to be sub 5 minutes. So this is an outlier. I'm very impressed with that time, but that is one of the lowest times I've ever seen. So that's while I'm very proud to see that, I'm not sure I can sustain that. So I'll throw that out there. Calls for service, we had 5,341 calls for service during the month of January. We had 2,330 traffic stops. We made 38 DWI cases during the month, and we had 209 crashes in the city. I also want to highlight some folks that were promoted back on Monday the 13th. There to the side of me, it was Lieutenant Kerry Higginbotham that promoted. He is now our 3rd watch, our evening shift lieutenant. Very proud of him. In fact, he's in the audience with us. Good to have you, sir. And then we also had 2 sergeants, Brandon Heath, there beside him, that was in our CID, Crimes Against Persons, and now will be back on the streets as a sergeant. And then Conrad Roberts, which was on day shift patrol, and promoted up to the rank of sergeant. Very proud of all those guys, and I know they'll do a good job. And then we had some other folks join us on Friday, on the 17th. We have there on that bottom row, Levi Pelham, Noah Pirtle, Jason Sawyer, Leo Barra, and then on the back row we had Jacob Rhodes, Luke Kientz, Matthew Chung, and Austin Meadows. So we're very proud to have all those young men on the force, and they are finishing up commissioning training right now, and they will be hitting the streets next week, starting their field training. So again, proud of them. I will have to say I taught a class to them the other day, and I guess that's when you start to feel a little bit old. I looked at the roster when I picked it up at the end of class, and I was off at a SWAT school when they were about 3 years old, but we'll leave that alone. And then also on our alert training, this is alert is Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training. This began in the San Marcos area, and that has really become the standard for the nation as far as active shooter training goes. Very lucky to have it in our state of Texas. They did a train the trainer course for us a couple months ago, and we had several of our Longview PD officers attend that. And now we are partnering with Alert to actually provide that training here for our officers and surrounding officers in the area. And we've actually had officers come as far as the Austin and the Houston area to attend this training as well. And we just finished another 2-day class this past week. In fact, in the lower picture there, the 2 gentlemen at the front of the room, those are 2 of our school resource officers that we have here in Longview. So we're definitely glad that we can have that training here locally and provide that to our partners in the area. Then also coming up on March 7th, TxDOT will be coming to the Green Street Recreation Center, and they will be doing a presentation at 10 a.m., and then they will follow up with from 1 to 4 o'clock with Car Fit, and this is actually for our mature drivers, and they will actually go through, and I think they have about 12 different steps and approaches that they go through to make sure adjusting seats, steering wheels, mirrors, all that good stuff, and make sure that you've got the full use of your vehicle. So again, you can go to the presentation at 10 a.m. on March 7th, and then actually have the adjustments occur. And it takes about 30 minutes, and they'll be out there from 1 to 4 to do that portion of it. And with that, if y'all have any questions, I'd be
Any questions, Chief Boone? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Chief Steelman.
Good evening, Mayor, Matt, members of council, Mr. McPhee. Thank you for the opportunity to provide you with this update of some activities in the fire department since our last meeting. A lot of what we're going to talk about tonight from the fire department standpoint deals with training. Much like Chief Boone, it's a never-ending process with the members of our fire department. And one of the things that we do on a semi-annual basis is called TILES training. TILES stands for Total Integrated Life Support Training. And this is where all of our paramedics that are in the operational field, we'll take 30 of them down at a time. We do it in the months of February and September every calendar year. So it takes us 3 years to rotate this around to get every one of those paramedics their card certifications for things like advanced medical life support, advanced cardiac life support, basic trauma life support, pediatric advanced life support, and then their basic life support. And these certification cards are part of what allows our service to operate at the high level that it does. Where you say our ambulance is going down the road, those are advanced life support level ambulances, but they're also mobile intensive care unit capable, which is a testament to the training that our personnel have, the direction that our medical director provides with our protocols, and the equipment and medications that we carry that allow our paramedics to intervene and save people's lives. So this is just part of the ongoing process that we do. And I'm proud of our members for every time they complete this. It helps get them their continuing education hours for their 4-year renewal cycles for their paramedic certification with the state. So it's just a great program. It's a great opportunity to sharpen up on some skills and make sure that we're providing that high level quality service out there in the field every day. Another aspect, and you think about the fire department and you typically just think about the structure fire, right? Well, the fire service has really evolved to an all hazards type response agency. There's not too many things that we don't respond to nowadays. And one of the things, and you see these make national news all the time, is wildland fires. You see them happen typically out west of here in the western states or other places in Texas. And we've seen what that's like when it happens here in northeast Texas with us being in the heart of the piney woods. And so we had several of our wildland firefighters this past weekend able to go up to Wood County. There's a complex up there called Mill Creek. It's a privately owned, I couldn't tell you how many acres it is. It's huge. I don't think I've ever seen all of it, and this is probably our 4th time to get to go up there. But they open up their property to fire departments from all over the state to come to. And I know the days that the day I was up there were firefighters there from Waco that travel 3 hours to come up and take advantage of this level of training that you just really don't get to get anywhere else. And they actually employ their own forester out there at this complex because actually, believe it or not, actually burning off the ground litter and the ladder fuels and the things that actually suffocate the forest on a periodic basis is healthy for the forest. And so it's a natural process, and we get to help them do that. In the exchange for that is we get to get some really good live hands-on training for wildland firefighting. And there's just an example of some of the property that we were able to burn, and we have to go through exercises of how to protect structures and things that we would do in the real life response. So it's a great opportunity for hands-on training and to also get to network with firefighters from other departments that when we do have to deploy firefighters out across the state, a lot of times these same firefighters are going to be working together. So we appreciate Mill Creek for opening up. Appreciate our firefighters that took some time and gave up their weekend to go up there and participate in this training. Our next Stop the Bleed training, this is a free course that's open to the public. It will be on March the 13th at 6 p.m. at our training center. You can go to the website there and get yourself registered. I did get a complimentary call just this past week from an attorney up in Gilmer that traveled all the way down here to take this training. He said it's some of the best hands-on training that he's ever had. And so he's gone back to Gilmer and recommending it to all his friends, and we hope to see those numbers continue to increase. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Chief Stillman? Chief, I just want to compliment you on the level of excellence that you're bringing to our fire department as well as Chief Boone. I know from my standpoint, every time I have to renew my ACLS and my PALS, I mean, it's cringing. It's so stressful, but it's good to see all those guys do that and be proficient because that's where you save lives. So we appreciate what you guys do and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We're now to the consent agenda. As I mentioned earlier, Councilman Ray Wade is joining us virtually tonight. So to accommodate the broadcast proceedings, we'll conduct business as we have before Mr. Carpenter's been out. We'll vote according to a show of hands. Please raise your hand to make a motion as well. If Ray needs to speak, he'll also raise his hand to be recognized. Or if for some reason we lose connection with Ray, we'll continue with the meeting without him. So be mindful of each other. Let's don't talk over each other. Do this as we have in the past, okay? Thank you all. So we're at a consent agenda. Any items council would like pulled off for separate discussion? Mr. Purtle?
F.
Item F. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Purtle?
Long time no see. Hey, I just wanted to know a little bit about this. What caused it? Why it was so expensive to fix? Why it couldn't have been fixed by the contractor that's reworking the bridge?
Well, that's a TxDOT project. This was when we had the utilities relocated. Those relocations went through a storm line that had been there for probably since '38. It's been there a long time, and it was hard to get down there and really identify where it was at. So Wicker Construction is the one that did that bore, and they've said, hey, we want to be a part of the solution, and so they've actually stepped up and donated towards this solution as well. So I want to make sure and mention that because that's pretty good steward when you get a contractor saying, hey, I want to be a part of the solution. So,
Okay.
but it was just a conflict. We had the water line almost went directly through it. The sewer line hit it, and so we had to go ahead and put those risers in and that manhole just to provide a conflict box to provide for that drainage.
Was anybody hurt
No.
with the hole there?
No, they hit it pretty good from what I understand, but I don't believe they were hurt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Archer.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions on consent agenda, is there a motion?
I make a motion, we
Mr.
approve.
Pearl has a motion. Second. Mr. Carpenter has a second. All in favor, show of hands.
No.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Got an action item, consider resolution authorizing an agreement between the City of Longview and the Longview Arboretum Nature Center. Mr. Karen.
Good evening, once again. Just wanted to give a little bit of an update and timeline on the partnership and agreement between the City of Longview and the Longview Arboretum and Nature Center. As you all may know, it was formed in 2010, and then the construction started in 2019. We had the original MOU was in 2018, and then the actual Arboretum didn't open until the fall of 2019. So the original agreement was in place prior to the construction being complete and then operating. And so when we developed the original operating agreement, we weren't quite sure of how everything would operate and move forward. And so we knew that we'd have to come back. And so that's what we've done at this point at the expiration of those 5 years. And so included in, I believe each of you have received a clean version as well as a redlined version of the operating agreement. And the bulk of the changes, to be honest with you, are updating of definitions, simplifying some of the text that's in there. And so the remaining items are removing the reference to the Cotton Street property as to at that time when we developed this, the thought process was that the city would acquire that. But that is no longer the case, as they have stated that they want to continue to own and operate that facility, and we're more than happy to have them continue to do so. The two other items are that this would be a 6-year agreement with 1-year automatic renewals. Again, that 5 years I think was an appropriate time frame. They wanted a little bit more assurance moving forward, and we felt that it was appropriate to be able to provide that because I think we've between the two of us, our partnership has grown stronger over the past couple of years, and we only anticipate that continue to do so moving forward. And then lastly, most importantly, it clarified the financial support that the City of Longview would provide to the Arboretum in referencing the amounts that have been provided to them over the past couple of years, as well as the process. And so the process for the developing the funding is the Arboretum and city staff would meet prior to the budget process beginning. So pretty much in this time frame for next fiscal year, as we move through the budget process, that would be approved or included in the budget. They would know the amount that is included in there. City council would as well. That would be part of the budget process. Once the budget is adopted, then staff would come forward at the beginning of the new fiscal year and request the payment to those to the Arboretum, the amount that was in the budget. So it would be a one-time item. It wouldn't be on a reimbursable basis. It's just included in the budget, and we would do that like we do a number of different capital items that we come forward with at the first meeting in October or possibly the second meeting in October. So again, long way. We really appreciate the working with the Arboretum board to get this completed. They've been great, and they have a great and wonderful facility that all of us in Longview can be very, very proud of. And so we just look forward to continuing to see that operate and that partnership grow. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any question, Mr. Karen? Mr. Purtle?
I just want to thank you and Mr. Dara back there for working real good together. This needed to be done, and I think y'all did a good transition on it.
Yes, sir. Oh, and again, I failed to mention that this was unanimously adopted by the executive committee of the Arboretum as well as their full board, so,
Good. Well, we thank you so much.
yes, sir.
We do have to approve this, so we do need a motion and a second. Ms. Snoddy has a first.
Second.
Ms. Gamboa has a second. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. And we do appreciate all the hard work that goes into that organization. The Arboretum is such a gem for Longview, and we are thankful to have them and all those that work so hard to get it where it is and continue to move it forward. Keep up the great work. Now, items of community interest, Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you, Mayor. We got a couple of things. Our friends out at Gregton will be continuing with their East Texas Food Pantry. They'll be back in session on Thursday, March the 2nd, from 11 until 1. They're distributing over about 300 families twice a month, and it's really a good thing to see that going on, and they continue to do a really good job with it. Speaking of excellent facilities, one of the things that we all should be very proud of is our Maud Cobb Activity Center. And I've had 2 instances to be in that facility in the last week, and I want to thank all the folks with the diversity luncheon. It was a really nice event, but more importantly, I want to talk about the Pine Tree Expedition, which was last Thursday night. We had about 3,000 of our closest friends and neighbors from our town invading Maud Cobb. We saw everything from wonderful hot dogs to robots throwing saucers at each other to athletics to Pine Tree Bucks. All the campuses were represented with the children, and we had a ukulele choir, and just I think they even saw, is in one of the slides, the typewriter that was in use when I was there. That was back when they were manual. That was pre-electric. And so my hat's off to Dr. Steve Clugston and Mary and all of the administrators at Pine Tree for just really showcasing what an excellent school we have there, along with the other excellent schools we have in Longview. And I really enjoyed seeing all the things and how much they've changed in a half a century. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Snoddy.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Mr. Wade, hello, sir.
Hi, how are you? I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Ishihara.
I just have one. Would like to invite everyone to come out to Stretch Your Mutt. It is a family fun event where you can bring your dog to walk or bring no dog to walk and just come out and have fun. But it is 10 a.m. on Saturday, March 25th. It is a fundraiser that supports Longview Paws, that supports our Animal Adoption Care Center. So we would love to see you come have a good time and celebrate the wonderful facility we have there.
Ms. Gamboa.
Good evening, everyone. Various East Texas teams participated in sports this weekend, but congratulations to the Spring Hill Panthers for taking wins in girls varsity softball, girls soccer, boys varsity soccer, and Panthers baseball won against Pittsburgh. I also would like to say great job to our Aspire Mentoring Program for all they do. They had a wonderful Valentine's Day this February, where they had their mentees and mentors come and listen to a wonderful speaker about women empowerment and pursuing their dreams and ambitions. Shout out to Paula Jimenez and the entire Partners in Prevention for their amazing Unity Honors Luncheon, and congratulations to Amanda Beasy and Clint Holmes once again on all the things that they are accomplishing. Thank you to Ms. Justice and Birch Elementary for having me read for World Kindness Day, and we talked about kindness and goal setting. Thank you again for having me out. And great job to the Junior League on having their annual charity ball. We look forward to seeing what you use those funds for to better our community. Nothing else. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Pirtle.
Nothing from me.
Mr. McPhee. Well, scholarship seniors, don't forget to submit your applications for the annual scholarship before February 28th. The scholarship is for graduating seniors from Hallsville, Longview, Pine Tree, and Spring Hill who live within the city limits. So apply today at longviewtexas.gov/scholarship. Last week, got to get it in. Boards and commissions, if you want to get involved and serve your community, a great place to start is our boards and commissions. Applications are being accepted through April the 14th, so apply today at longviewtexas.gov/boards. Mr. Karen, this is your last meeting. We appreciate your service, sir, your friendship, your dedication to the city. We have benefited from your presence here, and where you are going, I know they will benefit as well. So best of luck to you, and don't forget about us. I know you're going to still be around here, so come back and see us when you're in the neighborhood, okay? Always welcome. Thank you, sir. Mr. Finley, we want to take a second tonight to recognize our city attorney, Jim Finley, who is retiring at the end of the month after 23 years of service to Longview and 34 years in municipal government. Jim is the longest tenured city attorney in Longview's history and has worked with 5 mayors, 25 council members, and countless staff. He's attended hundreds of city council meetings, and every time he has to talk, you know something has gone wrong. Jim is a man of very few words. He did tell me out of those 5 mayors I was his favorite. He reiterated that many times as we were discussing this last week. Jim has been not only a colleague, but a true friend, someone I have counted on many times throughout the years. Jim, we appreciate your service and we'll miss your counsel. We wish you all the best in your next step towards your well-earned retirement, sir. Thank you very much. We will now retire to executive session for personnel matters under Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, to discuss and consider deliberate the appointment, duties, and succession plan for the city office of city attorney. The council may return following executive session for further action.